Hello everybody, so I have some big news along with a story to tell you guys. So, I have recently expanded the stables, so there are a few free stalls now for some horses, or ponies. So, I was just looking on Nordic horse sales, just for fun. I wasn't desperate for any horse, but if I did find someone I liked, I'd pick him up maybe. So I was about to close my laptop, exit the website because I couldn't find any horse. And that is exactly when my eyes went across to Ace Trotter. He seemed perfect. He was a Shire stallion. Here's what his owners said about him. Ace Trotter, Ace for short, is a wonderful calm horse. Being a 4-year-old stallion, you may expect him to be a bit impatient and a bit crazy, but Ace is the exact opposite. He is patient, friendly, and will do whatever he can do to make his rider happy. As expected, he will still show some crazy qualities. As far as we know, he bucks and sometimes bolts, but that's a given when buying a young horse. He has never competed, but he is easy to load, stands for the farrier, and waits patiently while you mount and dismount. We have trained him to show jump a bit, and he can jump 80 centimeters so far. He needs a big paddock, friends, and an experienced owner. He is not suitable for beginners since he can get very impatient if he's made to stand for too long. He'll be the perfect companion for someone who matches his needs. All the other horses that I found were 9,000 shillings minimum, and that was a bit too expensive for me, because I have other horses to take care of too. But he was just in that price range, a bit pricey as well, but it was fine. The price was apparently non-negotiable, so that was the final price. So, I decided to contact his owner, and she said that I could go visit him and maybe go for a test ride on him the next day. So the next day I went there, and he looked just like he did in his pictures. He had some Shire friends, and he looked pretty happy in his atmosphere. I went over to him, and he was a bit excited about this new person. I gave him lots of pats, and he was very calm and gentle. He loves head scratches, so that's good I know something about him. I attached to the lead rope, and surprisingly, he was very calm and nice to lead. I tied him up and tacked him up too. He was kind of mad when I tightened up his girth and tried to nip me, but he didn't do anything. I mounted up on him, and he was a very good horse. I walked him over to the paddock, and he had very nice calm strides. Once we were in the paddock, I just decided to warm him up a bit. I walked him on both sides of the arena, charted him, did some circles, diagonals, and changed the rein a few times to make sure he was listening to me. I got him to do a few canters, a few gallops, and then it was time to set up the jumps. So while an owner of him set up some jumps, we went over some pulls and did a few more warm-up exercises. Then we were off. He did the bounce jumps perfectly. He kind of reared up at the last one, but still jumped it. A bit spooky, but that's okay, since he is a young horse, and has seen a lot of things that he's never seen before, too. He was very good on the poles, and then it was jump time. He was very scopy, but he had an amazing jump. He was speedy and always looked to the next jump. He kind of overjumped some things, but that's okay. He had a very nice, comfortable landing, and he jumped way higher than 80 centimeters. Like, that was 1 meter. He didn't rush towards jumps, although I did have to check him before the jumps a few times. I cooled him down, gave him lots of pats, and he seemed pretty proud of himself, and he should have been. I walked him back, and he was still as cool as a cucumber. He kind of pushed his head up while I was taking off his bridle, just kind of to mess with me, but he was good other than that. While I was grooming him, he kind of dozed off, and he was so cute. Picked up his hoofs, and he stood as calm as a cucumber again. Gave him a carrot, and then gave him a goodbye pat, and I talked to his owner. I had really liked Ace, and I felt like I just clicked with him. While I was talking, he was kind of looking over at me over the fence. He was like, "Oh, what are you still doing here?" His owner said that I could come tomorrow to pick him to pick him up if I really wanted him. I said okay, and I told her I'd pay her tomorrow. The next day I went over and he was delighted to see me. I know that sounds a bit Twilight, but he really was. He even walked. Even walked with me without a lead rope. You can see his other Shire friend is just staring at us. Anyway, I loaded him up in my trailer, and as his owner said, he was as good as gold. He was pretty good too on the ride. He may have let out a few whinnies and kind of kicked the wall a bit, but then he calmed down and just chewed on his hay net. When we arrived, he just stood in the trailer for a few minutes taking in all the views and the smells. And when I came towards him, he just shook off all the shavings because he did have a lie down on the trailer. I had an apple ready for him, and then I led him to the paddock. He stared at the other horses and let out a few whinnies. I put him in the paddock, and he was so agitated that he couldn't be with the other horses. The other horses called out to him, but that did not soothe him. Anyway, the next day, when I came over, he already trotted over at the sound of my voice. He was so cute. I gave him a few pats, and during my free time, I just stayed with him to keep him company. He kind of nibbled my hand because I had treat residue on them and a few treat crumbs. I gave him lots of scratchies as well, and I even threw him an apple which he caught. Look at his little face. I'll have updates on him every week, so stay tuned.